I've been stupidly sick, but I've also been way more productive than I've been in months. So help me figure that out, will you? I'm Michelle. This is my romantic tangle, and I have got all kinds of stuff to show you that I am excited about because I have been stitching and knitting and hacking up a lung. Before I realized how sick I was, and for the record, this is just a really bad, annoying cold, not anything more than that, I don't think. I pulled out one of my oldest whips. This is Sanctuary by Marty Bell. This is the sort of full coverage stuff that I was stitching when I first started to cross stitch. This is what I love. I don't remember starting this project. I know that I did. I remember buying the pattern. I can tell by looking at this that it is the way I grid my fabric. It was in my sewing room. It is mine. No question about that. But I don't remember stitching any of this. And apparently I used to be better at confetti stitching than I am now because there aren't big gaps to fill in later. This looks great. And I did a little bit of the window here and then put it aside to work on something else. And by the next day it was becoming obvious that I didn't have the focus that this project needs. So it is, I want to finish it. I want to work on it. I'm just going to wait till my head is a little clearer. Because like I said, this takes focus. I've been working on Cuckoo Clock. I've done a lot on Cuckoo Clock, which takes some focus, but not the same kind of focus. And there are straight lines and there are spots that I can stitch on actually without counting. I made one mistake over here. I put something a row too high, and by the time I found the problem, I had buried the end instead of parking it. So I don't want to lose the floss I would lose if I went back and fixed it the right way. So I have this vision in my head of how I would fix it if this was a wooden cuckoo clock and I was making it and I got my measurements wrong. Not that I ever have or will make a wooden cuckoo clock, but I'm going to use that tactic to fix this and it is all going to be okay. So below this, there's a little bit of filigree and then there are the weights of the clock. So this is more than halfway done. I am going to get this done. I love it. I'm going to talk quick because I don't know how long I can talk. Hang on Kitty. I had worked on it twice before the last video. I am having so much fun with this. This is not my usual type of project. You can't even see there's like half stitching in the background. I don't know if they're clouds. I've got some more of those to do and then all the back stitching of the kitty. And both the kitty and the cuckoo clock, I know that the quality of my stitching is not my best right now. But with both these projects, I've decided I don't mind. I'm okay with that. They're not heirlooms. They're just for fun. And not that I think Sanctuary is an heirloom, but I feel a little more responsible towards it. That's not the phrase I want. I'm thinking it's a good idea to have some projects for when I'm not feeling great, because I stitch when I'm sick. I stitch when I have a migraine, if I can get away with it. And the past week or so, I've been able to huddle up in the corner of the couch and knit and stitch and not much else. I'm going to start Riolis breakfast because over the past couple of months, I have been just weirdly obsessed with eggs. Eggs aren't a big part of my life. We have chickens, so for a good chunk of the year, we are drowning in eggs. The kids get used to being able to use all the eggs they want. When the birds aren't laying, I go to the grocery store and buy whatever's moderately priced, and I don't really worry about it too much because the rest of the year I've got not free eggs because chicken feed is expensive, but eggs. It has been hard to find eggs. Eggs are more expensive than they used to be. I can deal with that. It's the not being able to find the eggs and for some reason not being told, facing the reality that I can't have all the eggs I want is hitting me differently than cutting back on anything else has. I'm a little crazy about the egg thing, so I decided this is a good time to stitch eggs and maybe hatch some of our own eggs when those birds start laying again. Last video I showed you the shawl that I had started on Christmas. It is done. It has lots of ends to weave in because this cake of yarn had way too many knots. Excuse my coughing. This is from the yarn haul that wasn't my yarn. I thought, oh, I'll knit shawls. And I didn't expect to get a shawl done this fast. As soon as I was done with that one, I pulled out another cake of yarn and did this one. This is a different brand of yarn, and I love it. Not a single knot. The colors transition and are pretty, and my only complaint is soft and squishy and wonderful. I wish it was just a little bit longer. So I am going to take some of my own yarn and knit a vertical lace border, because then I can get a couple more inches here. And I think that with the colors of the yarn I have in my stash and the colors of this, that is going to work out really well. And because I do not know how to knit a border like that yet, I started another shawl yesterday, so I have something to work on. This is another same brand of yarn cakes as the red shawl. I have 3 of them, so this one will be a bigger shawl, which is not a bad thing at all. I don't know why, for months I just have not felt like knitting. My hands didn't particularly want to do the movements, and now all of a sudden I keep picking it up. When I should have time that I could be doing more complicated things, I'm finding myself knitting and not wanting to put it down. Couple that with watching Trailer Park Shark with the boys and some other really dumb horror movies, and I've been productive with the knitting. And these shawls are all going back to the quilt group that we quilt with. They get yarn donations now and then because people donate their loved one's stash that they left behind, and I don't think maybe really consider who's the difference between yarn and knitting or yarn and quilting. But that is fine because we're determined to use it all up, and we greatly appreciate it. And isn't that pretty? Or it will be when I weave the ends in. I miss the good old days when you could get sick and go to bed for a day or two and then feel better. My husband had 5 days off, spent all of it in bed sick, trying to get a jump on this, and he's still sick. I'm still sick. The boys, thank goodness, are all doing better. They were on the mend by the time it hit my husband and I. And like I said, the symptoms are a bad cold. It is unpleasant. I don't think it's anything more serious than that. Got curious, took a test. No, it's not that thing. Or the test says it's not that thing. It doesn't matter because I'm keeping my germs to myself and treating it the same regardless of what I'm sick with, because I don't want to make anybody else sick. There was an event at Christmas and I really wanted to go, and I had convinced myself if I went, I was most likely going to get sick. Decided it was worth the risk, but then the ice storm hit and we couldn't go. Of course, the person I was going to go with went. She is healthy as a horse. We didn't go, and we got slammed with germs from apparently 3 completely unrelated sources. I hope this isn't the new normal, that we do this every couple months, because yuck. In the meantime, I'm going to make sure I have projects that are easy to work on and maybe some meals stashed in my freezer. Thanks for watching. I'm Michelle. This is my romantic tangle. If you have good ideas of stuff to put in your freezer that your kids can cook when you're sick, let me know in the comments. I'll be back with you with more videos soon, I hope.